Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I'm excited to be talking about the Crysis 3 multiplayer. And having played the beta aspect of Crysis 3 multiplayer, I have to say the devs have done an excellent job in taking some of the community suggestions and implementing them into the final product. One of the biggest concerns from beta was melee being too powerful. You could basically one-shot kill anybody with melee who didn't have their armor active, and now they've changed that to being a 2-shot kill to anyone with that armor and a 3-shot kill if somebody has their reactive armor activated. So now melee is much less substantial and it's really more of a last resort weapon as opposed to a first resort weapon. People are running around, sprinting around the map with their enhanced mobility and just meleeing everybody. It felt like a game of chivalry. Now, the first thing you might notice when you hop into a game of multiplayer is just how amazing it looks. And on my system, I'm able to run it on high graphics and still maintain a pretty nice frame rate. So this is great. It means the graphics have been optimized well. Even on medium settings, it looks good. On low settings, it still looks pretty decent. So most people should be getting a pretty nice visual feast while you're running and gunning in a multiplayer environment. Now, there were only a few weapons in the beta. Some people were concerned that those were going to be the only guns in the entire game. Well, that's not the case. There's at least 3 times as many weapons now. A whole variety of assault rifles, sniper rifles, weird high-tech weapons that I don't even know how to classify. And you get to unlock these as you level up your character. I think they've done a good job of setting things up so that each level you get something new and interesting. So if it takes you a while to level up, you'll at least get something else to play with at each level, so you're not having to wait like 3, 4, 5 levels just to get your new toy. There's also some cool new suit modifications that you get at different levels, and these basically allow you to make a very specific class that's designed for specific tasks, or a general class, and they're all very cool modifications. It's yet to be seen if some of them might be a little overpowered or not. I'm sure that will come with time when people figure out that, oh hey, this suit modification is just the best, so everybody should use it. But right now it's pretty fun to kind of play around. You can give one class some rapid fire and really good weapon control and faster reloading, and then you can give another class lots of stealth abilities and fast movement and silent movement and that kind of thing, and you can really customize it to play exactly how you want. And then you can set that class up with a shotgun or a silent sniper rifle or whatever you want, and there's really a huge variety to how you can play the game. And you could set up to, I believe it's 5 classes, so if different game modes call for different types of tactics, you can have your class specifically designed for that tactic. Another cool thing about Crysis 3, and I believe this has been in the other games, but you can modify your weapon on the fly. So say you start out with an assault rifle that has a foregrip on it because you really want to control the recoil and maybe hit some good long-range targets. Well, all of a sudden you realize that, hey, there's going to be a huge group of guys around the corner. You can bring up your assault rifle and attach a grenade launcher to it mid-combat, fire your grenade into the action there, clean up the guys, and then if you decide you want to go back to long range, you can just hit X or whatever your weapon modification button is and re-modify your gun. You can do this with scopes as well. So if you have a reflex scope on there for close range targets and you see somebody long range, you can go ahead and put your long range scope on there to take them out. It's pretty cool, and it would be awesome if other games had this kind of system, but this is something that Crysis owns, and they do it well. The game ships with 8 different multiplayer game modes, including Hunter, which is pretty fun. It also has the standards like Team Deathmatch, Free-for-all style Deathmatch. They have a Capture the Flag mode, although I think it's called like Capture the Rally or something like that. And then they have a game mode called Spears, which is pretty much identical to Conquest in Battlefield. Then they have Crash Site, which I think is probably my favorite game mode. It's just a good way of keeping the action dynamic and moving around the map, but also focusing it on different points. Some of the game modes are better than others. It's pretty clear from the start that some of them just aren't particularly well optimized for each map. The Spears game mode, which is essentially just Conquest, sometimes they have like 5 different spears on a very small map that are close together, and it just seems a little bit chaotic in terms of like where people are, and you just spend a lot of your time just running from point to point kind of aimlessly. There doesn't feel like there's any sort of front line in that mode. It just feels very much chaotic, and so there's some game modes that just kind of bring a little bit more chaos into it, and you know me, I like my strategy, so I tend to favor game modes with a little more strategy. I think Crash Site is one of the best ones. Hunter offers some fun moments, but it's also kind of crazy and wild, and it's got a bit of a learning curve. You really have to know the maps, where the hunters generally spawn and where they might have a good sight on you from the beginning of the round. If you take a wrong turn at the start of the round, you can go down instantly. Now, regardless of what game mode you pick, learning how to switch in between your suit's options is key to becoming good in this game. You have to be able to switch into stealth when it's appropriate, switch from stealth to armored mode, switch out of armored mode so you can run a little faster to make certain leaps across areas so you can grab onto other ledges. When you're in armored mode, you run slow. When you're in stealth, you run a little bit slower, and you only have limited power of stealth. So you have to make sure you're using your energy efficiently, because your suit only has a limited amount of armor and stealth that has to recharge when you deplete it. So you really have to use it efficiently and at the right moments. If you enter stealth at the wrong moment, you will die extremely fast if you get shot. In fact, it's like 1 or 2 shots if you get shot while you're in stealth mode. So if you go into stealth in the middle of combat, that's like suicide right there. So you want to use stealth to move around. When combat's about to begin, you want to throw on your armor. Sometimes you don't want to put on your armor if you're mostly a mobility class and you want to get nice high jumps, say with a pump action shotgun, so you're going to use your mobility to try and keep you alive rather than your armor, because the armor slows you down. There's just a lot of learning that has to be done, but it's also really fun once you get it down, and it doesn't take too long. So once you start to get your rhythm down of when to switch in between the modes, you really start to mesh, and you feel really powerful and like you're having a really fun time being in control of your suit. It's sort of like manually shifting a car and just having that feeling of control over the power of it and just a bit more precision, and it's a good feeling once you get it down. Now, on a very surface level, if you're to look at Crysis 3, you could say, oh, you know, it's just kind of another shooter that's got standard game modes with your average team deathmatch, capture the flag, domination, those style of game modes. But when you add in the amazing graphics, the polish that the game has to it, the awesome looking custom designed weapons that you can modify on the fly in combat, the suit management, which is probably the coolest aspect of the game. I mean, having a power suit that can leap up onto tall ledges, being able to jump around maps very dynamically. It feels a little bit like Assassin's Creed with the amount of ledges that you're able to grab onto and pull yourself up. And then you combine all that together in a package that just feels fresh and new and well balanced and well polished, and you actually have a really good shooter on your hands. The game has kill streaks, but they're not customizable. They're usually limited to 4, the basic ones being improved radar. Then you can get like sort of a heavy weapon upgrade that you can use for a few shots. Then usually you get something like EMP, which will reduce your opponent's energy levels for a specific period of time, or you can call in an orbital strike or a Ceph gunship at one point in the game, and then the final level is maximum power suit, which basically makes you invincible for a little while. I think these kill streaks are great. They don't offer too much automated killing. The Ceph gunship and the orbital strike are the two things that sort of have this automated killing aspect to them, but they're still not very powerful. Ceph gunship, I think the most I've ever got from calling one in is 3 kills, maybe 4 on a good day, and even that is something that you can easily avoid. It's not going to kill you in one shot. You're going to get shot by it, and then you have some time to take cover. The orbital strike is a little more instantaneous, but even then its range isn't very big, and if you're not directly in its blast radius, you have some time to get out of there before it kills you. So these kill streaks just don't feel overpowered. There's nobody going to be raging in chat or leaving the server if a giant VTOL comes in and starts killing everybody. So it really does still feel very much like a shooter at its core. You're reliant on your skill, your stealth abilities, your strategy to get you those kills, to get you those kill streaks, and to win the game. I think this game kicks ass. It doesn't rely on cheese. The developers are in tune with the community. There are some sensitivity issues on the PC side of things, but the devs have already stated on their forums that they're working on a patch to give us complete control over our ADS sensitivity and our normal mouse sensitivity so that we can really tweak and customize the game to control just how we like it. So I think it's awesome that the devs are really being this open and this responsive with the community. The guys over at Crytek have put together one hell of a shooter. It's absolutely worth your money. If you are at all a first-person shooter fan, you're going to enjoy this game. Take the time to learn how to play the suit right, and you will just be loving it. Thanks for watching the video, guys. This is LevelCap, signing off.